Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Go4LoL. My name is Benvarmeren and today I'm joined by Bobby.
Hello, everybody.
And
What are we looking today?
yeah, once again we're casting the Go4LoL, and this time we are following a team called GLB, blue, on the blue side, and on the red side we have EV, that stands for Vination eSports.
The names are real. I will never remember them, just remember that. So, we are already in the pick and ban phase, and we can start to see the first bans for both teams. Starting from the blue team, we have Kog'Maw ban. On the purple team, Kalista ban. So, pretty interesting one is a ban in these days, because we've seen her a lot played, and it's a good counter over many champions that are good at as ADC. Kalista is pretty hard to get to. With a good support, it's pretty hard to get to her, or at least even damage her in any possibility. And yeah, it's a good ban itself. Looking at the last bans that are coming out from the blue and the purple team are Corki and Fiora from the blue team, while on the purple team there is a Malphite and a Tankkench ban. So quite interesting bans, but I do trust that all of them are pretty bannable champions. What do you think?
Well, the thing that really stands out to me is the Kalista, because, all of the champions that have been banned are more or less very, very strong, but especially Kalista, because she has so much damage in her kit. She can deal a lot of damage with her Rens in the early to mid game, and she also brings a form of utility to the team, because with her passive Fate's Call, you're able to do a hard engage, and that's something people like to utilize. So taking Kalista away is such a good idea in my opinion.
Alright, so let's go in the big phase. That's gonna be a Nidalee first pick for the blue team. Coming up next are Riven for the purple team, a possibility, a pretty interesting champion, because everybody knows that Riven is pretty hard to get to, and especially the damage that she is able to deal with her mobility is so intense. It's pretty hard to play against her in the laning phase, especially during the mid game. The pick will be a Lucian, followed up instead by a Janna, so it's gonna be Lucian Janna by the bottom lane for the purple team, while the blue team, let's see who they're gonna pick. What do you think about the combination Lucian Janna?
Well, already now you have such a safe combo for Lucian. You already know Nidalee, she's there and she can do a lot of work in the early game, because she has a lot of damage just coming from a kid, and she's able to just go in and counter invade the enemies, so she can be such a pestilent in the early game. And what the two champions that have already been picked for Vination eSports just shows that Lucian and Janna, they want to play around Lucian, they want to keep him safe, and they want to have him as a hyper carry in order for him to deal all the damage in the late game, that Janna is going to be there to peel for him all the time.
See who are the next picks for the blue team. One is gonna be a Nautilus, and the next one it's gonna be Caitlyn. Possibly it's indeed going to be Caitlyn. So long range up against this Lucian, and that's surely not that bad of a decision. But still, on the other side there is a Janna, and Janna, it's a pretty good and strong counter over this Caitlyn, because every possibility for Caitlyn to deal damage from the long range mostly is nullified by the Janna's shield or even her ultimate, able to heal a lot. So Caitlyn's ultimate is gonna have quite the trouble to be landed correctly, without any shield, without any healing up. But still, that's not that bad of a choice, because the combination we have on the other side, that is exactly Lucian Janna, is pretty strong at poking down the enemy, as at least farming, or doing pretty good job as in the overall. It's pretty hard to explain how strong this duo is gonna be, but let's see them in game. The next picks are going to be for the purple team. This Lulu and Kindred going to possibly be the jungler for the purple team, while the blue team is finding out a lot of AP, I see, because coming up with Veigar is interesting, and there they switch, in fact. Let's see who they're going to pick. What do you think about the Lulu top lane and the Kindred as jungler?
I like two picks that the Vination eSports they picked, because now you have Kindred. That means you have a double-lated carry composition. You don't really see so much of the double-lated carry compositions anymore, because people have figured out how to play around them, make sure that you don't really get countered here in the early game and then snowball all the way to the end. But the thing is, Lulu and Janna, they're able to peel for both Lucian, and now you have a double AD carry, so you have a lot of damage, and if they can get rolling in the early game, in this meta where it's so much about having pressure from the get-go, they really have the foundation to just go there and stomp GLB.
Then we have the last 2 picks for the blue team are going to be Varus and Alistar. So we have this Alistar support, while Nautilus is gonna probably be the top laner. And the last one pick for the purple team might be Trundle. Interesting to see if they are going to keep the Lily top lane or go for the Trundle top lane and Lily mid lane. But having on the other side Varus as mid laner is going to be pretty interesting to see if they are going to keep the Lulu. And in fact they are going to keep the Lulu by the middle lane against this Varus, while the top lane will be a Sion up against a Nautilus.
So
pretty interesting team composition. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so with the Sion, that means you have some form of hard engage. The problem about Trundle, I would actually prefer to see a Trundle pick, but the problem about him was that you wouldn't have any engage, you wouldn't really have any way to hard engage onto the team, and now with Sion you have his ultimate and he can just run into the enemy team and force a fight that way, basically. But the thing is still, Trundle would have helped in order to kill Nautilus, because Nautilus can get really tanky, and if Trundle is able to utilize his subjugate, where he can take away the magic resistance and armor of the enemy tank, then he would have been a really good pick. But still, that would have relied so much on disengage, and you wouldn't have any way of forcing fights if you were able to come ahead in the early game.
So I guess the 3 minutes mark is set to be waiting, so I'll let you bring us to our pause.
Now we will take a small break because we have reached the 3-minute mark. So once we come back, we will be in game, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Hello guys and welcome in game. Now, this is the first game in this week's Go4LoL. We are on round 32. My name is Benvarmeren and I'm, and today I'm joined by, once again, Bobby.
Thank you. I think I have some problems because my game hasn't loaded yet, so I'll try reloading. I'm hoping.
We do have a pause, so it's not really that urgent.
Okay, that's probably why it didn't start yet. As we were saying, okay, it started finally. Yeah, with Alistar disconnected, it's gonna be pretty hard to start like this, but let's see already what the two teams were able to actually buy before the pause. Starting off from the top laners, both Corruption Potion, up to the junglers that decided to go both for the Hunter Talisman. On a Kindred, I do prefer the Machete, but well, the Hunter Talisman works as well and pretty good, I guess. For the mid laners, we have Ouroboros with Corruption Potions as well, because, well, we have a Lulu that's gonna be pretty aggressive on him. And, well, for last we have the 280 carries with Doran's Blade, nothing particular to see or to say about them. So, any prediction about the game?
Not quite yet, because both teams, they do have a team that can be very strong if they come out ahead, because on GLB sides, we do have an Italy, and she can really dictate the early game if she gets a lead. The thing is, she's against Kindred, and Kindred can also really be a pestilent for the enemy jungler because she's naturally an AD carry, and AD carries, they do have a lot of damage, and especially someone like Kindred can really deal a lot of damage in the early game. So for Italy, it's really about seeing if you can get some invades, some counter invades, perhaps, and then try to dictate your lanes, because you do have someone like Nautilus who can do a lot of damage in the top lane, because Nautilus is a laner and also a tank that can get tanky and also deal quite a lot of damage at the same time. So there's a lot of places that Natalie can go, and once we reach the 6 minute part, the 6 level spike of GLB, that's really the place when Elite, everything's open for her, because you have Varus with her ultimate, Nautilus with the ultimate, and even before that, in the bottom lane, you have Alistar.
As you were saying, Nautilus is a pretty strong champion by the top lane, because you have a lot of basic damage out of her skill, out of its skills. The problem is that if you play him, ability power surely deals a lot of damage, but the problem is that he will not do the job that he has been picked for. The problem is that we can see, wow, this Sion. Yes, we were speaking about Nautilus damage, but this Sion surely is not keeping himself back.
Yeah,
wow.
He started to rain on Nautilus's parade. I mean, I expected something like Trundle, if that was going to be picked, to really bully Nautilus, but okay, so Sion, he's a pleasant surprise, I mean.
Yeah, indeed, because he's practically the Nautilus with damage, with attack damage, base damage, because you have the Nautilus that's really tanky and deals a lot of magic damage, and you have the Sion that's really tanky but deals a lot of physical damage. So it's really interesting to see these two one against the other. The problem is, seems like that the Sion, it's a bit more advantage for the start onto the Nautilus. Pretty interesting to see. Well, we have to say that the bottom lane is pretty quiet for now, but with Janna for the red side, truly not anything is going to happen that heavily against the two of them. Well, pretty passive start from both teams. Let's see how it might come out, or at least what's gonna happen next with the junglers coming up.
But really, the two junglers, they're just waiting for the laners to hit level 6, because in the bottom lane, you really don't care about Lucian hitting level 6. The thing about the bottom lane is that you're there to try and bully Caitlyn, you're there to try to attract Nidalee to come to the bottom lane, so that Tambo on the Kindred can just play around the other sides of his map, and you can already see he's moving towards the top lane. And it just means that already here, they recognize that Siren has a good. Oh wait, actually, in the least. Oh, never mind. They know that Siren is the one dominating the top lane, so they can go there and maybe play around Sion, make sure that you can utilize some of his damage, some of his tankiness as well. Because Kindred, Sion doesn't really have to do the damage, you just have to keep grease the meat in place.
Oh, wow, I just noticed one thing. I noticed that Nautilus doesn't have a lot of armor, but we can see the Kindred coming up in the top lane. It's possibly going to be an easy kill because, as I was just saying, even if the first blood went to Kindred and not to Sion, I just noticed that Nautilus has 35 armor. Up against 41 magic resistance. He probably has a lot of magic resistance runes, but forgot about the armor, and that's one thing that goes against him, because Sion decided to start maxing the Q, so a lot of damage from his X, and Kindred is an easy champion to deal damage with, so this Nautilus really just asked to Kindred and Sion to counter him with physical damage. I do not know why he started with so pure armor, but that went against him. As you can see, he already buffed the cloth armor as a second item, as a second starting item, and that's surely the best decision he could take, because that armor difference really made a lot in this game.
He definitely needs the armor, and against Finnick on the Sion, you definitely need some resistance, because right now he has a component of a Spirit Visage. He does have the Cowl, I think it's called. Yeah, the Spectre's Cowl. So right now, whenever he takes damage, he'll just regenerate that very, very fast, and he doesn't really care. He can just keep pushing, keep bullying Nautilus, so it's not going to be a problem for him. And this means that he can attract someone like Nidalee to the top lane, make sure that Kindred can make so many plays elsewhere on the map, and just keep the pressure off of the scaling bottom lane.
This is an interesting situation, because this Sion still deals a lot of damage, yeah, even if it buffs the Spectre Skull, he really deals a lot of damage in the starting phase, especially with the Q. Nautilus, damn it, Sion's Decimating Smash has a lot of basic damage, and especially deals too much damage when maxed as spell. Yeah, even when fully charged, it's pretty hard to get out from it without a scratch. So even for a Nautilus, it's not that easy. Look at the damage now. He did not even charge it fully, and the Nautilus is already down to half HP even after a few exchange of hits. Kindred is gonna be pretty aggressive onto the Nautilus that's unluckily going back, so Kindred is gonna wait a lot when she's going back. So, well, a pretty uneasy situation right now for this Nautilus by the top lane. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we can see that the two AD carries are pretty much tied to each other, because they have both 65 farm each. So it's a pretty easy situation by the bottom lane. So passive, nothing really happens. It's going to be quite slow until the level 6, as I just said, when Alistar comes out with level 6.
Exactly. So Lucian is just there to farm his way up to a point where he can start carrying. That's the point where he gets his Essence Reaver and a Static Ship, Rapid Fire Cannon, whatever he wants to build. That's the point where he can start to group up with his team and push down some towers alongside Kindred, because that's the point where the double AD carry composition is going to shine. And to talk more about the point I made about Nidalee having to go to the top lane, Nautilus is in a lot of trouble. Now Nidalee will find one of the pink wards, but there were 2 pink wards placed around the top side just to make sure that Sion would never really be in any trouble. Now, one has been cleared out, and a lot of the vision for Vination eSports has been replaced by GLB's vision, and now the whole top side is covered in blue wards, except 1 pink ward, and this means it's more or less Cloud has a free domain around the top side.
Kindred going aggressive into Nidalee's jungle, pretty aggressive, so much that she might be able to take this red buff without any problem, and this she does. Italy did not expect nothing, but at the same time, Italy went toward a bit onto the enemy jungle, but not too much sleep, so nothing gained by her. And she will now be unpleased to see that her own jungle is already being cleaned up. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we can see that the situation is still easy, too easy, damn too slow. While in the middle lane, we have this team that going aggressive onto the Varus. I wanted to talk about the Varus because it's a pick that I have not seen for a while. Varus mid lane, a lot of damage onto the Qs, but recently it's not really been so used as a champion by the middle lane. And never being used as a champion lately in the overall, so what do you think about him?
I mean, in this composition, he fits in because you need some CC and you need some CC to follow up with the Nautilus, and in this way, Varus fits in. You also get the poke to complement the poke of Caitlyn and Lee. So really, Varus he fits in, but still he's not the best mid laner you could have gotten at this point, and this means that someone like Lulu will have a better impact in this game, because Varus is really just there to be using his ultimate.
Whoa.
Now the top lane is there fighting.
Pretty heavy exchange, but the damage on each other is almost nullified. They were hitting for jeez, they were fighting for hours and there was no damage, but at the same time they used so many abilities. Ultimate from Sion. Nautilus did not use his own ultimate, but the situation was just stable, I could say. They could do nothing to each other. It was really fun to see. Anyway, yeah, as I said, many champions currently could have been better by the middle lane instead of this Varus. In my opinion, a Corki would have fit a lot.
Yeah, but he was banned.
Yeah, unluckily he was banned. So, well, good ban.
Oh, but Kinder's in top lane.
This gank might be another kill onto the red team. Luckily, I see that Nautilus is already under his own tower, even if there is a lot of damage from the skin red. Remember, base onto the maximum health onto the enemy. Every third attack is still not enough because Nidalee, showing herself by the top lane, manages to tell to Sion, just go back mates, you are not going to get the kill.
Yeah, at this point you need Sion's ultimate to keep Nautilus away. Sorry, from getting away, because really Kindred, she's not going to be there to really deal enough damage to Nautilus, because at this point Nautilus is getting closer and closer to having a Sunfire Cape, and Sunfire Cape is a armor item, so naturally someone without too much armor penetration won't really be able to take Nautilus down. But I'd actually like to go back to talk about Varus once again, because, as I said, he fits into this composition. It's not there to deal the damage, it's there to be a CC bot. And if you take a look at the whole lineup of GLB, it's all about getting the CC there and then protecting Caitlyn, possibly also Varus, because Varus is scaling a little bit with that Mana Moon. But as I was saying, there's so much CC on that side, because you have Alistar, whose combo of the WQ is now ultimate, which means that it's more reliable. So there's CC, Nautilus is CC, Varus is CC. You even have the traps coming from Caitlyn, which is also kind of CC. So there are so much crowd control on the side of GLB that they can just keep using that in teamfights and then keep Vination eSports locked down. But then again, Vination eSports, they have a lot of disengage, and if they can just utilize that, then they should never really be caught out of position.
That's true. Anyway, I just remember that actually the Mana Moon was buffed onto the passive, and now stacks one stack every 8 seconds. So indeed it's not that bad of a choice anyway, because since the Mana Moon now stacks passively, going to be able to bring the damage out earlier, even if that it's not that much still, because it's one stack every 8 seconds. That's really not a lot, but for a champion like Varus it's still important, because the damage from Varus, it's a lot by the mid game, late game, because when you have the second item ready with a Varus, the Qs deal so much damage and you're able to spam them so much the enemy cannot even try and get close. Just already, let's see already that damage that he is able to deal onto this Lulu. Third Q, she managed to parry it with the shield, but still that's enough for now as damage, and enough to be able to poke down the enemy before a triumph engage from the red team, for the blue team. So, Dragon pretty warded by the red team might be their next target as soon as they are able to get close to it, or at least get one kill. Varus is not that easy of a kill by the middle lane, able to keep up a lot of distance. What's this, Alistar? What is he doing? He might go down. Ultimate going out, and he's still able to get out thanks to his ultimate. Lucian's calling goes out. Meanwhile, Nidalee is 1-on-2 because her team is not following. Exos coming out onto the Lucian, the Q! Nice dash onto the Alistar, getting the kill. Janus ultimate to heal up even the Lucian, and now Science using his own ultimate to try and get this Caitlyn. Force a flash. Oh, the Q lands. She's still alive, and this Nautilus coming up with the TP as well. He might go down, and it's a 4. Oh, this Varus from behind! And last breath from this Kindred keeps them alive. This Varus goes down from this Lulu. And wow, the red team, what the hell happened there? I just lost sight of many things, too many things happening at the same time. This Varus, really nice play. Unluckily, the red team was already able to prevent any possible loss because you have Kindred and you have Janna. You literally cannot die that easily.
That was indeed a very nice ultimate coming from Varus. It wasn't enough to turn it around, and now the game has been very passive, and before this fight the game was actually even. Now they have a 2 goal difference, and a dragon of course going over to Vination eSports, so they are setting their mark on this game, and they're slowly getting a lead as well, because now they have a 2k goal lead. And the thing is that both teams, the reason why we haven't really seen too many fights is that both teams, they are scaling. They just want to get to the point where they can comfortably use their AD carries to deal the necessary damage to take down towers, objectives, etc, etc. Now the first tower has gone over to GLB, and they are now only behind 8,000 gold, and it's really it doesn't really matter too much that they fall behind, because it's not too much, and as I've said already, they are scaling as well, so both teams, they just want to get to that point of scaling. And the thing is that it's so much, one team is relying a lot of the AD carries because they have that peel coming from Lulu and Janna, and then on the other side you have crowd control, but as we just saw in the last fight, Fate's Call can really destroy the crowd control and just make it useless.
As we could see as well, Janna's ultimate and Kindred's ultimate really fits a lot to be playing against such a team composition as the blue team has, because you have the Janna Monsoon that's really overpowered, that's healing and especially disengaging, and Land's Respite that's pretty strong to prevent any last hit from this Varus or this Caitlyn.
Kindred comes to top lane.
Meanwhile, yes, this is just saying this Kindred going up in the top lane. Nautilus manages to land anchor right behind his own tower, able to prevent any possible damage from this Sion and this Kindred. Kindred that deals a lot of damage right now, but still it's not enough onto this Nautilus that already entered the Sunfire Cape and went for the Negatron Cloak. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane we can see this Lucian and Janna going pretty aggressive onto the blue tower. Really interesting situation right now, because you have 1 kill on jungler, mid laner and AD carry for the red team. A lot of assists for the top laner and the support, so it's going to be a pretty interesting situation. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, this exchange of damage from Nidalee and Kindred going up against this Nidalee, coming out with this fight from less than a quarter of HP. Kindred literally gaining this blue for her own.
Yeah, now the blue will be stolen away. Yeah, okay, they smite it away, so just to make sure that GLB won't get it. But now, if you take a look, the top side is really warded for GLB, and all game they have been playing around Finnick on the side. They've just made sure that he would always be in a comfortable position. He will always be there to back them up, and he would always just be ready to make some plays. They have been playing around the top lane so much, so I really love to see how much vision they have invested into that top lane, and it's really hurting GLB, because GLB, they haven't been able to stop the bleeding of the top lane.
While we were speaking, I just got in mind a quote from Kindra's video. So, Sion right now, he will always have a friend. And that's Kindred. Very interesting. So, we have this trial game from this Alistar going to support his Nautilus. But there is this Kindred going on the ultimate. It's pretty interesting the situation, because there is even Italy and Caitlyn going aggressive onto the red team. The spear hits. And the ultimate from this Kindred might be able to keep them alive. This Nautilus under the tower. Sion's ultimate, and it's chaos. We have Sion going down, but even Italy under the tower goes down. Varus coming in, using his own ultimate to keep Lulu and Lucian in line. Meanwhile, Kindred managed to get out alive from that one. Really heavy disengage from the blue team, and that's probably not done yet, because we have the blue team keep pushing with Nautilus and Alistar, two heavy tanks, and Varus, that's mid lane for this occasion. Wow, what an engage.
That was indeed a very explosive fight, and in the end it was only actually three persons going down, four persons, two for each side. No, it was, my math is bad. Okay, three persons, two for Vination and one for GLB. Now, Vination, it doesn't really look like they're done, because Kindred came to the top side, but so did Italy, and it looks like they want to fight.
Oh, it's a pretty aggressive situation. We have the Alistar. Oh, burst the flash, and the flash solution, taking down the kill onto the Alistar with the Q in combination with his own passive. Pretty too much aggressive, this Alistar, onto face checking that rush in the river. Too much aggressive, and that's how you pay for going out without any vision onto what is expecting you. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, this Sion is pushing hard, even if the bottom lane tower already went down. And the situation is pretty much interesting, because you have the red team with one tower, one dragon, and almost 3,000 golden advantage. Meanwhile, for the blue team, one tower gain, no dragons, just one kill that went into Nidalee hands. And it's a pretty interesting situation, this one. What do you think, how the blue team can recover from this?
Well, they could contest the dragon, because right now, if the red team, they get this dragon, then Vination, it will not get stolen, but Vination eSports now, they have the second dragon buff, they have Dragon's Wrath, and this means that towers will go down faster. Oh wait, we might see a team fight coming out.
Yeah, possibly a team fight, because we have Nautilus going in into the front lane, taking a lot of damage from the Lucid and Kindred. Sion going in, using his skills to keep Nautilus in line, ultimate Nautilus in. Meanwhile, the headbutt from the Alistar, Sion going down pretty low in health, but Janus Monsoon is able to recover a lot of it. Nothing gained from both teams, but the blue team seems like has a small advantage onto this. Even if, Kindred died. When did Kindred die?
Kindred weren't able to use her ultimate, so in the end she just went down, because Lamstress Bite was not there to save her. And you need to use the Lamstress Bite in order to survive as Kindred. It's such an essential tool, especially in this team composition, against all of this poke and all of this engage. So now that cost them a kill and a tower. And now Vination eSports, they kind of look like they might start to bleed. It looks like that they hope for the best, but they didn't really prepare for the worst.
Alright, I just rewatched what happened there, and yeah, Kindred did not have the chance to use her ultimate just because it was kept mid there by Nautilus and by Alistar. It was really fun to see. But anyway, thanks to, as you say, this team fight that came out from nothing, and the blue team was able to get one kill, and especially the mid lane tower, that's really important to get. So, the situation right now just might look a bit more with the possibilities of the blue team coming back into the fight, because the team composition they have still works a lot. but it's pretty interesting to see if it's going to be enough to recover from how the red team managed to gain the victory on those other team fights.
And well, I must say that even though GLB they just won that fight, Vination eSports. Oh wait, 2 junks in top lane, but the whole team of GLB are coming there as well.
Yeah, all the blue team is going to the top lane. Meanwhile, Italy coming with support and spears everywhere. Sion using his own ultimate. He's able to dodge the virus, but he stops the ultimate too early. And it's blocked by virus ultimate. And even Alistar tries to stop him, but the engage is coming out from the red team. Monsoon is coming out, healing up on the red team. The blue team really needs to run here. And Caitlyn had the kill coming up from Kindred onto the Caitlyn, and it's not done yet. The red team tries in tower dive this and double kill for this Lucian. And this might be a triple kill because there is Alistar with no HP at all, and there he goes, a triple kill. Meanwhile, Sion going onto the tower, but he noticed that there is too much health from it. Oh well. The red team just now manages to get there and gain the top lane tower. What a turn! What the hell happened there?
Well, the thing is that... Oh wait, they're actually starting the Baron, and there's still some very high death timers coming from GLB, so this could possibly be the Baron. However, Cloud is still up, and he could possibly also steal the Baron, so now this could be very intense.
There is a lot of coverage from the red team in Italy. Just
decides
to go. Whoa. Well.
Oh.
What?
Okay, a very fast Baron going over to Vination eSports, and the thing I've tried to say for a few minutes, but I weren't allowed to because the 2 teams they just kept fighting, is that Vination eSports, they have Dragon's Wrath, so their basic attacks, they burn turrets for a small amount of damage over 2 seconds. Now, they have the Baron, which means that their sieges are going to be stronger, and now they can bring the sieges to the siege composition of GLB. And the thing about siege compositions is that they often don't bring a lot of wave clear. And especially this composition, all of your wave clear lies on the side of the Varus abilities and Caitlyn's static shift. So right now all you have to do is group up and then disengage if you get engaged on, because you have Janna, you have Lulu. Just disengage and get a lot of towers. They're doing it right now.
And we see that the red team manages to take the middle lane tower. It's going to be their 3rd tower going down. As you just said, the damage from them onto the tower is just a bit increased thanks to the 2nd Baron buff. And it's pretty important because thanks to that they are going to be able to siege a lot. But this Alistar is going to greedy onto the enemy jungle, or at least his own jungle where the enemy is waiting him. And the kill goes out onto this Lucian that's really seeing too much damage. Lucian 7-0, 2 assists with 2 items completed, probably the 3rd coming up soon. It's really aggressive and powerful currently. Thanks to the Baron, the red team might be able to take even the bottom lane tower that now is pushed by a lot of minions. Heal up from the Janna, Monsoon coming in pretty early. And there might be a possible engage here. And yes, it goes. The tower goes down. Now that it's too much ahead, takes a lot of damage from Kindred, and Lucian manages to get out just barely alive, while this virus is taking a lot of damage from the calling from this Lucian. Inhibitor going down, and Alistar just barely comes back alive.
And Lucian, his goal in life is just to be there to deal a lot of damage, and now with him having 7 kills, he has a lot of resources on his hand, and once he goes back, he will have his Bloodthirster. So at that point, he's going to be very sustainable. He will have a lot of sustain. He's going to be able to just survive all of the fights without really needing too much peeling, because of his mobility and his lifesteal from the Bloodthirster. Now they're fighting over the dragon.
Oh, now he just misses the anchor, but
Lucian!
His ultimate, there is a lot of damage. Lucian got off guard. There is an ultimate from this Kindred that just lets him die. Virus double kill onto the Virus. Meanwhile, the Spirit neatly gets onto the Janna, and the kill onto the Kindred. It's a 4 for nothing. And they got the dragon. Wow!
And that was a misplay from Vination eSports side, because they had a lot of gold in their pockets. Even Himmelrider on the Lucian could just go back, buy up the Bloodthirster, and buy a Quicksilver Sash, which would have saved him in that engage. So a misplay from them. They didn't really need to get the third dragon either, because they already had the foundation in the bottom lane of that Baron inhibitor. Now they might lose an inhibitor in the mid lane. And they will indeed lose that inhibitor. So now, with a inhibitor gone in the bottom lane for GLB, they recover a inhibitor in the mid lane, and now the pressure will somewhat even out. But a inhibitor is of course better in the bottom lane, because that means that the pressure of the Baron is still going to be there. But now here comes the engage, because Sion is going, everybody is coming from Vination eSports.
And there possibly be an engage because the Sion manages to get the Alistar, and the ultimate goes out for this Alistar, preventing any possible try of back engage. But the bottom lane tower, the second tower of the Nexus, goes down because of the super minions that were not cleaned up early enough. And meanwhile the middle lane tower even goes down, the inner tower. So, well, it's pretty worth for the red team, because one Nexus tower is already down. The blue team did not count those super minions that just pushed like there was no tomorrow and managed to get that tower. Really nice.
But now, Vination eSports, they can go to the top side. You already have the pressure of the bottom side pushing with those super minions. And Himmel Rider is in such a good place, because he has a lot of damage. He has both his Bloodthirster, Essence Reaver, Static Shield, and he's going for an Affinity Edge, but it doesn't matter because Grease means it's going down.
Now this is gonna be painful for him, because he goes down to 4 of the red team that were just waiting on the other side of the wall. Just went in there, cleaning up what was that possible. This is Rocksport though, and just decided to give up his life because there was nothing better to do. The top lane inner tower goes down, and there are no more inner towers for the blue team, and now the possible inhibitor tower might go down either middle lane or top lane. But the red team decides to just not keep on pushing, and possibly defending that middle lane that now is pushing for the blue side, because with that inhibitor down, it's pretty a pain to defend that.
But the inhibitor, I'm pretty sure it might end up being up in the bottom lane at the time of the next Baron's arrival. So if they can... No, it's actually... well, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's going to be down. And if they still have the inhibitor down in the bottom lane, GLB eSports, sorry, just GLB, that means that they're going to have the pressure of the bottom side pushing for them, and they cannot Baron dance for too long, so they have to find and engage. But again, that just brings back to the win condition of Vination eSports, which is protect the Lucian, peel for him, let him do the work for you. And, well, Lucian, he's there, he has a big power spike, and he just needs to be peeled for, and then the fights will more or less be naturally won, because Caitlyn, while she is packing a little bit of damage, is not packing quite enough to win the team fights on her own.
Let's see the rest of the game, how it's going to behave, because we have the red team pretty aggressive, still has both top lane and middle lane, and bottom lane inner towers, but lost every single tower in the middle lane.
That's going to be up. The bottom inhibitor is going to be up, so I predicted that right. And so yeah, bottom will not be pushing as much. I think there's going to be one. No, there's not going to be any super minions left. So bottom side is not going to be pushing as heavy as it could, but Finnick is going there, and he will be pressuring the bottom side, but we'll find Caitlyn.
Oh, this Caitlyn!
Oh, that was a lot of damage. Holy.
That's the problem, because there is even the rest, the other members of the blue team supporting her, saving her just in time. Caitlyn that really risked a lot, because that science damage was so much. In a few seconds she was not able to move at all. But anyway, the red team now needs to gather up and decide what's the next objective, because they need to use this advantage they have of 6,000-7,000 gold. And with the Scissor Bite bottom lane, they might be even trying to push aggressively by the top lane and the middle lane side. or then even try and turn around and getting the bottom lane inhibitor that's now uncovered by the tower. They have so many ideas that they can get to, but they need to decide soon, or at least they need to do not let the blue team block and late game damage. Even if Varus doesn't really deal that much of a damage in late game, even Nidalee doesn't really, but Caitlyn might be a problem. Especially after the last buff they did to her, she deals a lot of damage if for some reason you step on a cake trap.
Third dragon going over to Vination eSports. And right now I'd like to see Finnick the Siren go to the bottom lane, because you have both a Sunfire and a CC Watch. Wait, they're actually just going to be stacking in the bottom lane. Anyways, as I was saying, I don't want to see Vination eSports go into the bottom lane. I'd like to see Finnick go there, and he pressure on his own, because he has a CC Watch ball and he has a Sunfire, which has been buffed so that it deals more damage to minions. However, we could see a teamfight break out very soon.
Both teams are there. It's pretty stressful situation. And we have seen Nautilus dealing a lot of damage to each other, but not dealing too much. Oh, this Janna going pretty low thanks to Nidalee's spear. So the red team decides to go back just a little, but we have to remember that they just got the third dragon and reset Baron up. So it's strange to see they just not go on and get other targets. They're just playing passively this way, and they are not getting a lot out of this. But well, yes, Kindred and Lucian both doing a lot of damage by late game phase. But Caitlyn really is annoying in the late game. I do not want to play against her in a late game phase, even if the poke team is not good going into later minutes of the game.
Definitely not. And now finally Vination eSports is doing what I want them to do. Send Finnick to the bottom lane. The Sunfire and CC Rod's portal, it empowers his split pushing, and then the rest of your team goes to Baron Dance, because greasy meat cannot deal with Finnick. You can just see how much damage Finnick isn't taking, and how much damage he's actually dealing to the inhibitor. However, well, the inhibitor is going to go down in approximately 7 years.
Even more. Oh wow. What was that?
That was the CC Rod fall. Oh, I love that item. I love it. Yeah, well, the inhibitor's slowly going down.
Really slowly going down.
Oh, here comes the big one.
Nobody of the blue team decides to follow up, and well, the inhibitor just is going slowly down. What the hell?
Oh, this is ridiculous.
No, he decides to just fall back for a second. Yeah, he's not going to take that inhibitor. Oh, damn it. Oh, but the red team is going to do that Baron meanwhile.
And Lucian have a lot of damage. He has in the Infinity Edge. This is Baron going down.
Wow, the Baron is down.
Finnick. Oh, the split push is real. The split push.
Go for it, Finnick. Finnick going in. Possibly taking down.
I mean, the split pushing is so good, because he has both the CC Rod's portal and the Baron, but he will get in it.
He sacrifices himself, but takes down the inhibitor, and that's worth it in my opinion. Therefore, he might have just kept on pushing, because in my opinion, when the blue team came to support Nautilus that was trying to stop him, he could have just stayed there and do the same thing he just did, but with his own ultimate still up, so he could have had a chance to go back. But the problem is that they had no vision at all about where the blue team was, because even if you have those two wards that were just possibly placed not long ago, the blue team was mostly on the right side of the blue jungle, so the red team could not see them. If he was to stay there, keep on doing that inhibitor, take it down maybe, and then use his ultimate to go out, that was going to be epic, because he was going to stay alive, get an inhibitor, and then possibly engage later. Now he has teleport, he might still be able to get in position soon, and the red team has Baron.
Exactly. I mean, using his ultimate too, get to the inhibitor might have been a little bit rush, but if we ignore that fact, he did get the inhibitor, so that means the bottom lane is once again pushing for Vination eSports, and they can basically group wherever they want to, because the Baron is down, Dragon doesn't really matter, it's not your 5th dragon, so really just go anywhere, group up, but send Finnick to one lane to split push because he's been itemizing for that for such a long time. However, he's going for what I think is going to be a Randuin's and he also has a 4-mail, so he's also very strong in team fights. Now, it looks like they might be going to the top lane. Oh,
This is damage onto the Kindred that just responds with a lot of other damage. Meanwhile, Varus using his Zeus blade to try and pressure out the Cyanide and Kindred that we're trying to get in Italy. Oh, a flash and this getting so much up against Monsoon surviving this Lucen, really aggressive onto it. Cyan going in with his own ultimate, missing the Italy just by an inch. And there is the red team now pushing aggressively. What a fight happened there in the middle lane. Now the red team just has so many minions all over the place. They are not going to waste them because there is a try-even engage onto the blue team. This Varus goes down by the Ludus damage and Kindred is so low HP, still deals a lot. Kindred using their ultimate to stay alive a bit, but the Nexus is going down. Oh, Lucen dies, but the Nexus is going down. Being going to take the win, and a very nice game to see here.
Yeah, indeed, a very nice game. I liked how Vination eSports, they just played it very calmly. They did have a bit of messy parts in this game where they weren't really on point and they just fooled around for a little bit, but they did get there in the end and they picked up the victory. So now, with the conclusion of that game, we will take a small break. Then when we return, we will have the next game in the round 16, which is going to be including Vination eSports, and I'm not quite sure which team they're going to be playing against, but stay tuned and we'll be right back.